Welcome to the Uncommon Woman video series, episode 6, stories of women who have overcome incredible challenges despite the pain, the risk, and the odds. Kim Constantinesco, after a severe neck injury from snowboarding, believes that the body, mind, and spirit are built to overcome the fear after the pain. Be inspired. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again for the Uncommon Woman video series. I'm so excited to be here today with a new friend. Hi, Kim. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Marlo. Thanks for having me today.
You're welcome. It's so incredible to have you here, and I feel so honored to have the opportunity to chat with you about some of the exciting things that you're doing and the incredible work that you're doing, but really so much about the process that got you to where you are. So first of all, maybe we can just chat quickly about the work that you're doing now with Purpose to Play and what that means to you.
Yeah, so I started purposetoplay.com, which only tells the positive and inspiring stories in sports. And we cover all athletes at all different levels all over the world. So we've talked with the first man with cerebral palsy to summit Mount Kilimanjaro. We've talked with the first woman to mountain bike across Afghanistan. We've even talked with big time athletes like Derek Jeter from the Yankees to discuss what he's doing for inner city youth. So, Purpose to Play is really about the stories. It's what drives people. What is their purpose in life? Why are they doing what they do? And it's just a real honor to tell those stories.
Right. And I love everything about that platform. Obviously, it's got kind of a similar feel to the Uncommon Woman in that it's really getting down to the nitty gritty of why people, kind of what makes them tick and how they got to where they are. So I really honor that project, and it's really been fun to watch. And I encourage everybody to go and check out this website. And of course, I'll have all the information running below so everybody can access you. But I know that you have a little bit of a story yourself. And I always say, nobody gets where they are just from walking the easy walk. It hasn't been something like, oh, I just want to start interviewing people who have these really crazy stories of struggle, from struggle to strength. So what got you interested in working with these kinds of stories and highlighting these incredible people? Because I know that there's a little background there.
Yeah, so before I started this 3 years ago, I was covering the Denver Broncos. I was kind of a beat reporter and just covering the NFL guys. And after 7 years of doing that, I got extremely bored of seeing the same stories being replayed over and over, just with new names and faces, replacing the old. So, I was doing that, and I'm also a big time snowboarder. I live in Colorado, and I got into a pretty major accident while I was snowboarding at 28 years old. And so I was doing a backflip on my snowboard, and I ended up landing directly on my head. And
oh my gosh.
I was thankfully wearing a helmet, but the blow to my head the blow to my body was still a huge one to take. So I ended up suffering a major neck injury, and I had surgery on my neck. I have a cadaver bone in my neck right now. I have metal plates and screws in there holding everything together. And so as I was recovering from that injury, that's really when I learned, the human spirit and the human body is designed to overcome the odds and get back to either where you were or get back to a new version of normal that's just as cool.
Exactly. I mean, holy cow, there's so much there. So let's just back up for a minute. First of all, I always talk to people about snowboarding because I'm a skier. I'm not a massive great skier or anything, but I enjoy skiing. I'm from Northern Ontario. So of course there's places to ski, and Canada's got some great hills. And whenever I talk to snowboarders, one of the things that they say is just be prepared to fall a lot when you first start. So as soon as they said that to me, I'm like, I have no desire to start now. But I know there's a huge culture of snowboarding. I was just at Whistler, and I bet you there were like 50 or 60% snowboarders to skiers. But I also know that there's a high risk of injury with snowboarding. And there are a lot of people that, you know, kind of come out of snowboarding and they say, I'm just not going to do that again. But one of the things that I do know about you is that despite this crazy accident that you had that really could have killed you or debilitated you, you know, in a much greater way than you are, I know that you got back on your board. So can we talk about that? Because I know that one of your messages is fear. And I think that's a really powerful, you know, powerful topic right now to just dive into a little bit.
Yeah, and I should mention I've been snowboarding since I was 8 years old, so it's very
Right.
natural to me
Yeah.
and comfortable. And it's funny because what you just said about snowboarders, I kind of think the same thing about skiers in
Right.
terms of, geez, there's a lot of potential for injury. There's so much to keep track of.
Well, of
So
course. Right. There is. Yeah. Believe me, I know. I've had a few spills.
yeah. So anyway, it's, you know, I ended up getting back on my snowboard rather easily after my
Mm,
surgery. It didn't bother me to go and ride down the mountain again, but I knew that I wanted to do another backflip after my
right.
surgery. I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it again. So exactly 1 year after the date of my initial injury, I went back to the same location where I injured myself,
Hmm.
and I had a whole bunch of friends with me, and I threw another backflip and I landed it successfully.
Beautiful. Yay. That's amazing. How are
Yeah.
you feeling? How are you feeling just like around that event? Because I know that, like, let's talk about the reality of fear, right? And how it can physically manifest itself. Did you have any emotion or any physical, you know,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess any feeling around that event before doing it?
My heart was beating out of my
Right.
chest, sweaty palms, even though I was doing this in February and
Yeah.
back pools and covered in
Yeah.
snow.
You're
I
like
was
soaked.
sweating.
Wow.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about taking risk
Hmm.
and really embracing fear. You're going to have those physiological
Right.
responses, but if you can train your brain, your body is going to follow. So
Exactly.
I think that's what happened that day that I went to flip. I had kind of used a lot of visual imagery,
Mm.
just imagining myself doing the flip again and landing it successfully. And that translated to that day on snow.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. Because I talk about, uh, you know, just doing a lot of vision work, right? And really getting people to look forward. If you want to create something, you and I both know that it goes beyond manifestation. You know, a lot of people talk about, oh, you're going to manifest it. Okay, no, you can honestly ask for things or step into your desire for things, but then you have to start acting as if. And I love Jack Canfield's The Success Principles. He talks about act as if. So whether you're acting as if physically or you're training your mind to do that, your mind doesn't know any better. If you're constantly showing that video right over and over in your head, your body is starting to do it. And I've seen women who are doing fitness routines for shows. When I go to the gym, I'll see them and they'll be doing this thing and they'll wash their hands. And I know that what they're doing is they're literally in their head performing their entire routine and they're just stepping, right? They're not actually doing the whole routine in the gym. There's not the space, but they're able to envision it. And actually, a girlfriend of mine, Lori Harder, same kind of idea. She had really injured herself and was off for several months um, because of some kind of a leg injury. And she was a fitness, the fitness where they get on stage and they do the actual fitness routine. And she was injured and she had to envision herself doing this routine because the date was coming and she was injured. And then she pulled it off and she killed it. So much power of the mind. So I know that with what you do, especially with snowboarding and with getting back up on the horse, there's so much power involved in just your mindset, right?
Absolutely. There
Yeah,
is.
that's amazing.
And
Incredible.
yeah, and along with that, I mean, if we, I was coming from a place of I would rather um, do something or try something
Hmm.
than live with the regret of not doing something. Uh,
Right.
So that's kind of where the whole returning to the scene of the crime, so to speak, came from. But it's amazing after you do something like that, whether it's a backflip on a snowboard or maybe you just killed an interview of this job that you never thought you would get,
Mm-hmm.
or running your first mile. It is so empowering, and it gives you the confidence to go and take steps in the future to expand your world.
Right. I mean, it translates into your personal life, into your relationships, into your business. And I know that you've done incredible things around your business. And so much of it has to just do with the kind of person that you are and how your perspective, right? Because you've stepped out. So can we talk about, kind of how you stepped out of the lane a little bit and are doing something different with the work that you do and how that's impacting other people? Because that's so important.
Yeah. So Purpose to Play, it's not traditional sports media. We're not
Mm-hmm.
covering the stories of players who are out at the strip clubs or
Right.
how they're celebrating in locker rooms afterwards. We're telling these very meaningful stories that, quote unquote, aren't the sexy stories in sports.
Right.
So it's been a challenge to get to draw readers into these stories. But once people check out the website and check out these athletes that we're covering, it's like, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little scary for me at first to jump into this world because I didn't know how this website and how these stories would be received.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, it's about taking calculated risks,
Right.
and you sort of have to be okay with jumping off a cliff and finding those wings on the way down.
Right. I love that. Did you get any resistance around, did anybody say to you, I don't know if this is going to be, it's a great idea, but I just don't know if this is going to be what you want? Or did you have any of that kind of, because I know that stops a lot of people.
Yeah, I didn't to my face. I'm sure
Good.
there were people out there who thought that. But I know I just had to be patient with the process,
Mm-hmm.
because things don't happen overnight.
Oh,
As much
no.
as you want them to, it
Right.
takes time and energy and effort.
Right.
And so I just wanted to go and do it and see what happens.
Did you
Um,
have, oh, sorry. Did you have any of your own negative self-talk? Did you have to kind of, because I know that just before we jumped on, you said, I wasn't sure how it was going to go because it was kind of left of center. So did you have to every once in a while check yourself back in and say, no, this is really what I want to do and I'm going to move forward
oh yeah,
despite,
absolutely. There's been
Mm,
plenty of negative self-talk and thoughts of maybe I should just throw the towel in. I mean,
right.
at the beginning, it was like, oh, we only got 30 hits to the website today. What am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I kind of look at it from this perspective. And I also have a master's degree in psychology, even though I'm not practicing right now.
Right.
But
Yeah.
John Gottman, who's famous he's a psychologist. He's a
Mm-hmm.
researcher on marital stability and relationships. So I kind
Okay.
of viewed my business as a relationship. And he says one of the biggest
Oh, yeah.
predictors of divorce is indifference. And so as I
Mm,
had these running thoughts about wanting to throw in the towel, I had to check myself and ask, am I really indifferent right now? And the answer was no. I'm still very passionate about these
mm.
stories and what I'm doing.
I love that. Thank you for saying that because, especially with the uncommon woman, it's just a baby, right? And I have so many people that talk to me about it and they think it's an incredible idea. But then when it's still new and when it's still growing, there are times when you're tired. You and I were just talking about this, and life happens and things get busy and you still have to work on that relationship. That relationship is still important. And so yes, even when you're tired or even when things aren't going quite as you want, that's actually the time that you dive in and do the work. It's not when you step away, because obviously we all know in relationships and whatever, that when we step away, there's silence. and there's no energy there, right? So
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because I know that we're not only speaking to people who may have sports injuries, or people who just need to understand that you can get back up on the board, on the bus, on the horse, whatever, and keep going. But that also you can apply these same philosophies and these same rules to personal life, your health, your business, your relationships, one and the same.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. The more things that you expose yourself to, the more you're going to learn about yourself. I mean,
Right.
for me, I do much better when I'm out climbing a mountain
Mm-hmm.
or going to stunt school, which I did last summer, or, you know, going and doing the thing I'm most fearful of, which is public speaking. Like, I would much rather jump off a cliff on my snowboard
Right.
than stand on stage.
Right.
And
Get
so,
hit in the head with an ice ball, then do
yep,
that.
yeah. So that's, I learned so much more about myself when I put myself in those situations
Yeah.
rather than sitting in a classroom doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So, it's interesting. I want to kind of talk about your most recent experience, because this is like this is a great analogy, actually, for just when things are going really smooth, you get hit in the head with an ice ball. So, we were supposed to do our interview a few weeks ago, and you contacted me and said, Marlo, can we move it forward a little bit, because I'm sitting here literally like, my whatever. You have all these injuries. I'll let you explain it in a minute. About what happened and why it happened. But it's really such a good analogy of how business, how life, how things can be going smoothly, and whack, we get hit in the head with said ice ball or whatever. But to get back up and to say, that's not going to stop me, that's where the rock star status is. And so can you talk a little bit about what happened to you recently? Because I love the story. I do. It's perfect.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I went up with some friends to one of our ski resorts, and it was their closing day. So it's always a big party. People dress up in costumes, and they have what's called a pond skimming contest. So skiers and snowboarders, their goal is to make it across the water after hitting this jump.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's just one big fun event. I've done it for the last 7 years. My goal is to do it for 10 straight years. So yeah, this was year 7.
What year is this? Okay.
Yeah.
Next time wear a helmet.
Yeah. So there, in this particular contest, for some reason, spectators were allowed to throw snowballs at competitors to try and knock them off course. So as I was making my run, I took an ice ball. It was a nice, warm, sunny day, so the snow was super hard. So I took an ice ball directly to my eye socket. And
oh my gosh, like really?
Yeah, and I still ended up in the 38-degree water, and I was just in a tremendous amount of pain. And so went to get it checked out the next day, and I ended up fracturing my orbital bone, and it left me with corneal abrasions. And, I'm very lucky I didn't actually lose my eye.
Your eye, right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, going back to your point, Marlo, you think you're in control, like everything is going well, it's fun, and you start doing what you know how to do best, and you can still get derailed by those
100%.
outsiders.
Yeah, 100%. And so what was your choice? Because obviously I know that this isn't the end of your career. So what was it that, what was your choice that you made around that, and how did that whole thing unfold? Because I think that's a really important piece.
Yeah, first of all, I knew this injury wasn't going to stop me from doing another contest in the future,
Mm-hmm.
but also I needed to take action surrounding what happened to me.
Right.
So I contacted the CEO of the resort and talked with him, and was assured that they would be putting an end to snowballs in the future, which to me,
no more snowballs.
Yeah, to me it's a big win, because I could
Right.
be potentially stopping a life-changing injury.
Right. And the whole idea of that we can get derailed, and we do have choices. We can either sit complacently and say, I'm done, throwing in the towel. And it could be whether it's a business or a relationship or something that we're so passionate about, like snowboarding or whatever, right? Could be something that we're so passionate about. But then when we get derailed like that, we have two choices. We can either keep going and take action and change what we need to change, or we can stay where we are. And I love that you took action. And then you just saw it as an opportunity to make things better. And we all have that opportunity. I know for myself and my business, and I'm guessing that you've probably had this experience, when something isn't going right, like if we're only getting 30 hits to our website, whatever, what can I do to go in and take a look at that and assess the situation and say, oh, maybe I need to try this? Or, so growth. I love to talk about the whole growth piece, the growth that comes from failing forward or from getting derailed or whatever. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing that, we can learn just as much about ourselves from failing as we can from succeeding, if not maybe more.
Right.
But yeah, life is messy. You're going to get hit with hard balls or ice balls or whatever it is. It's all about how you react to it.
Right.
We can sit there and sulk, and maybe you need a day to, just crash on the couch and not talk to anyone and draw the blinds. Give yourself that time. Give yourself permission.
Yes.
Honor yourself. But then, whenever you feel the time is right, go out and create that action.
I love it. So, let's go back to just your original experience for a minute. So when you were injured, what did you learn about yourself after that injury and after, everything that has come to from that particular, what have you learned about yourself? And feel free to brag a little, feel free to, to toot your own horn, because I think that we need to understand that we're not just our experiences. So what have you learned about yourself in that time?
Yeah, I think I learned that I'm stronger than I originally thought I was. I learned that, like I said, life can get messy. And, with my snowboarding injury, that shouldn't have happened to me. It wouldn't have happened to me had one of my friends' acquaintances not altered the jump that caused me to not get enough rotation on my snowboard. So I could have sat back and blamed her for my injury.
Right.
That would have kind of been the easy thing to do, but I didn't, and at all, actually. And that kind of surprised me. So I think, just I've learned I have more compassion for people than I realized.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, there were just so many little life lessons, and I continue to learn things each and every day.
And if somebody had said to you, you're eventually going to have a really terrible injury from snowboarding, had they told you that ahead of time, is that the girl that you think would have shown up? Or did you not know that you had that capacity to get through something like that? Because I do know that some people have crazy trauma, and the opposite person shows up, somebody very dark, very angry, and they're like, man, I just can't believe I'm like this. But then other people kind of show up like you showed up, which is on the other side of it. Is that the girl that you predicted would show up? If, knowing yourself prior? Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I'd like to think so.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so hard to say.
It is hard to say. And, it's funny because I've asked people that question before, just, did you think that you would be this person coming through this trauma? And so many people say to me, no, actually, I thought it was going to ruin my life. I thought that if this kind of thing, if somebody had said to me, this X thing is going to happen to you, I would have said no, because I don't know what I'll do. And that's one of the things I love about the Uncommon Woman series is most of the women that come onto this, to the series are just regular women who are out there doing the stuff that they love, and a trauma or a tragedy hits. And the fact that they come through almost blows them out of the water. They're like, at the time they were in such a dark place, or it was so difficult to imagine maybe not being able to do that thing again or moving forward. Did you ever have a moment where you weren't sure if you would be able to snowboard again? Did that ever kind of cross your mind, or was it not? They told you?
It certainly, I mean, my doctors had always said I'd be able to get on a snowboard.
Oh, good.
But, I didn't know. My intention was to go back and do flips again.
Right.
But I didn't know if I would actually be able to. If I'd actually be able to be healthy enough up here,
right,
I can do it.
Right.
like down below, absolutely, I could do it.
Yeah.
Um, but
So much of that is mental, I would imagine. I've
yeah,
never done it. I have no intention of doing a flip in this lifetime, but I can imagine what you have to, and you have to see it before it happens, right?
yep,
Every
absolutely.
move, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
but I think back and it's like if I, lost my ability to walk, then
Mm,
it's like how would I have reacted then and there?
right.
That's a game changer.
Total game changer. And of course, you and I both know that people think that they're never going to walk again or that they're not going to be able to make it through. And then boom chakalaka, 5-6 years down the line, they're running and they've completely, and they've stepped into a different person. They've literally had to create a whole new relationship with their mind and with their passion, right? Because sometimes you have to lay one passion down in a particular way that you have it pictured and pick up the new version of it, and then you can make it whatever you want it to be. So,
Yeah. And
I love
big
that.
passion shouldn't be fixed. I don't If passion is fixed,
Right.
there isn't that opportunity for growth.
Exactly. It needs to be something that can be morphed in. Yeah, exactly. I just love, it's been so great having you on. Thank you so much for sharing your
No,
story. And I know that there are a lot of athletes out there, and I know that you know more than I know how many of them are actually out there who might be suffering in silence. And, they haven't maybe worked on that mindset, or they're still struggling with the injury. So, I appreciate you coming on and just being so candid and open about that. If there was one thing, like if you were to step onto an elevator and you had an athlete who was kind of where you were in that time when you were struggling and right after you'd had your injury, kind of like 30 seconds, maybe what would you tell them? What are some words of encouragement, or what would you say to them?
I would tell them that time is your biggest friend, because with the passage of time, feelings change, your body changes, your mind changes. So even though you may be in a bad spot right now, down the road, it probably won't be that way.
Mm-hmm.
So just hang in there and um, continue to embrace the athlete that you were and the person,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, the person that you want to become as well.
Mm-hmm. I never asked you about this. Did you have a good tribe? Did you have a really good support system around you in this time?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was living with a couple of roommates who were my really good friends. I had my physical therapist who has become a really good friend. Just a lot of people. I have a supportive family. I mean, my parents flew out for my surgery.
Oh, amazing.
Just a lot of people who,
Right.
yeah, gathered around me, which
Yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah. And, I've, a lot of the women who I speak to, they talk about the importance of who surrounds you and just being comfortable to ask for surrounding too. Like if you're having a dark day where you want to draw the blinds, it's great, but you don't want to unpack there for too long. Right. So saying to people, listen, I'm not feeling strong today. Just come and keep me company. I don't even want you to talk. I don't want to talk about my injury. I'm so tired of talking about, I just want to like watch a movie and eat popcorn and just hang out and just normalcy. So important in times of trauma.
Yeah, and admitting to the people that you care about that you're not feeling strong and need
Mm-hmm.
support, that's one of the biggest signs of strength right there.
Right. And, you and I both know that suicide rates are high, uh, especially when people get into a place where they don't feel supported and they don't know which way to go. So I think that's such good advice, is to, step out and say, listen, I'm not doing so hot. That's all you got to say. You don't have to have a solution. Just being open to saying that, right?
Absolutely.
And then we can turn around and be the support system for somebody who needs it after, kind of like you are today. So I think that's such a great place to stop our interview. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking time to be here. Any final words before you go?
I love what you're doing, Marlo.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what comes of it. So
Oh,
even
thank you.
if you're getting just 30 hits in a
I
day,
know, right?
hang
Keep
in there.
going. No, I like you. I'm so passionate about the Uncommon Woman and the whole platform, and really just giving women an opportunity to step out and say, hey, here's my story. And if I resonate with one person or 100 people, or we save a life or save a soul, then truly our work is done. So I want to thank you so much, Kim, for joining us today on the Uncommon Woman video series. I'm going to have all of the information for people to get hold of you and contact you, and of course, to check out your incredible website. And thank you so much, and we hope to see you again soon.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for spending this sacred time with us and honoring the incredible women who have stepped forward with courage and confidence to share their stories with you and with the world. If you loved this episode, we would really appreciate it if you would share it with somebody that needs this message today. Also, please leave a comment. Let us know how the story has impacted your life or resonated with your soul. You can connect with us at theuncommonwoman.com, on Facebook at www.facebook.com/theuncommonwoman/ or on Instagram at theuncommonwoman. Again, my name is Marlo Ellis, Freedom Coach for Women and founder of The Uncommon Woman. And I want to thank you so much for being with us today. And until next time, take care.